Good afternoon, everyone. As usual, I'm just gonna give a couple of seconds to allow you guys to come in before we start the business of the day. Even as we still wait for a couple of seconds, I'll be just want to use this opportunity to ask, how has your day been? This is actually 12 p.m., so it's noon. Those on break, those caught up in traffic, those in the office, how has your day been? Hope you are doing well. Down here in Philly, the weather is kind of favorable today, sunny. The cold has actually gone down. Unlike, I think was it last week or last upper week that we had this terrible snow. But hey, things are cool. Today is indeed a good day because we have a great speaker, and I promise you guys, the webinar is going to be great. I urge each and every one of you, to come up with your question, and I'm sure Jeff is going to nail it. Okay, just as I said right from the onset that I will be given a couple of seconds. I can see quite numbers of participants on board. I will just go ahead and start. Good afternoon once again and welcome. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Gagba Esehaya, and I'm the training coordinator of the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple Small Business Development Center helps small businesses start and grow. We offer free one-on-one consulting and a variety of low to no cost webinars. We are proud to be part of the network of the Small Business Development Center, which has over 1,000 networks across the United States. We are here this afternoon for a webinar on how to make the digital storefront shine. A copy of the PowerPoint and the link to the recording will be sent to all the attendees. Being a webinar, all the attendees have been muted. However, we always encourage you guys to drop your question on the Q&A or the chat box. Without further ado, even as I promised from the onset, that today is a great day. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Jeff, even as he takes over the floor for the presentation. Jeff, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here to be a part of this webinar series. I know how much that you all at the SBDC are doing to help businesses grow and thrive, right? And that is a necessary thing these days. In a minute, I'll share my slides, but I just wanted to, put my face here kind of full screen and say a couple things. I've had the opportunity over the last few years to speak at other SBDCs across the country. I'm here in Dayton, Ohio. And I was just telling our moderator here, I have family over in the Philly area. So I kind of feel like I can relate a little bit to you all. In fact, even though I'm from Ohio and live in Ohio, I'm actually more of an Eagles fan than a Bengals fan. Now, this week and last week, I'm not really broadcasting that. I'm cheering for the Bengals. Still love my Ohio teams like the Buckeyes, but consider myself more of an Eagles fan, which kind of a long story, but been cheering for them for many decades. And like I said, I've been able to speak at other SBDCs, either in person or virtually. So the one here in Dayton, Ohio, one in Indiana, New York City, as well as one in an organization in Alaska. Right. So I've kind of traveled the whole country here, especially in the last couple of years, virtually, doing some of these same presentations. So let me share my slides here and we'll kind of get started. I do want to say this, please, please, please type in your questions as you think about them, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. Because I know, at least for me, when I'm watching a presentation, a lot of times I'll have a question. And if they take it at the end, by that time I forgot or I didn't, it's not important anymore or something like that. So put your questions in. And like I said, I will try to answer them during that part of the process or that part of the presentation that I'm delivering. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, so there is my screen. So our talk today is 7 things that manufacturers should do to automate marketing, get more e-commerce sales, and boost SEO. Now, we'll talk about this in a minute, but that word manufacturers, that can mean a lot of things. And maybe you're saying, Jeff, I am not a manufacturer. That's fine, but the principles apply. And that's the beauty of this is the principles of what I'm talking about apply to really any industry, but I'm going to make it specific for as specific as I can for you. So I'm based here in Ohio. I'm serving the Midwest and beyond. A little bit about me. I have married with 3 kids. I've been to all 50 states. I've been to 5 continents. So I kind of like to travel, I guess you could say. And I love what I do. I always tell people I haven't worked a day in my life because I love helping companies be more effective and more efficient. So there's different things that we'll talk about today that I do every day with companies. In fact, just before this went live, I was kind of feverishly updating this presentation with some new tips and strategies because things are always changing, right? So this presentation is not a stale thing that, I was giving years ago or even before COVID. This is a new updated version that I know you're going to like. All right, so my company is True Focus Media. You can find me at truefocusmedia.com. We do 4 things really well. And so the first one is marketing automation. So the thought is, how can you automate part of your marketing and sales? How can you automate you? How can you replicate you and your team to be more effective and more efficient, especially in today's day and age where it's hard to find good people, right? And so if we can automate part of your marketing, your sales, your training, and other aspects, that can help you be more effective and more efficient. The second thing we do is website design, development, and e-commerce. So pretty much any problem a company has, we can create a custom solution. So that looks like a lot of different things, and we'll talk about some of those here today. Number 3, video marketing. This is actually originally when I started my company 19 years ago. This was the foundation. We built it off of video marketing. And we're going to be diving deep into some video marketing and a strategy I call video value bombs that I really want you to pay attention to, because I think it's something that could really revolutionize your company, replicate you and your team, and help you be more efficient and effective. So stay tuned for that. That's kind of midway through this presentation. And then e-learning. It's interesting. Both my parents are lifelong teachers, from elementary to school principal to working at a college, and they've done many things in education. And so I come from that background. I have that mindset, and there are opportunities to take your marketing and use e-learning, to take your training and use e-learning. And we'll talk about some of those different things throughout this. All right, so first thing I need you to do, this is required, right? I'm going to put on my teacher hat. This is required. Post in the chat, what size company are you with? Okay, is it just you? Is it you and a small team? Is it you and 50 people, 100? Just put the size of the company. That will help me customize some of my examples for this presentation, because I've worked with Fortune 500 international companies. I've worked with small businesses and startups, and yeah, this is good. Okay, we've got some small companies, startup, just me, solopreneur, less than 5. This is great. Okay, perfect. Yeah, keep them coming. I'm gonna keep talking, but keep yeah, this is fantastic. Okay, we're both in the right spot here. All right, startup, small business. Here we go. So here's my goal for this webinar. Okay, so when you walk away, I want you to have a strategy in place to help you get more leads, boost your SEO, that's your Google rankings, and we'll talk about SEO, and increase your sales. All right, now you're gonna have to do all the work, but you'll have a strategy in place to do this. And I want to give you ways to help you do more with less, okay? And then customers will be able to come from you. So that's my goal for this webinar. Now, we're going to be talking about these 7 things, and we'll kind of fill in the blanks here as we go. But what I do want to say is this can be overwhelming. Okay, and my goal is not to overwhelm you or complicate things. My goal is to give you specific ideas, tips, and strategies that you can use, but please pick your top priority from this list of 7. And it's going to probably seem like a lot more than 7, but pick your top priority, because we're probably similar, right? I love learning. I love learning new tips, new strategies, new everything. But if I don't put those in place, it's not really as beneficial. I don't want you to waste your time thinking about, oh, I've got to do all these things, plus everything the SBDC is saying, plus everything that this person's saying. Pick one of the things I'm going to be talking about and try to implement that. All right, so now next question is, post in the chat, what products or services do you either currently sell or are you going to be selling? Okay, so it's fine if you're kind of pre-sale, skincare, art, bed and breakfast. Ooh, nice. The bed and breakfast thing is interesting. Is that a short-term rental? I've some real estate investing interests. That's a completely different conversation. Home decor, cleaning, manufacture of clothing, travel, audio. Great. Auto, nutrition. Okay, great. So this is great. This is great because, like I said, I've worked with some large scale international Fortune 500 companies, from Kroger to Cargill to Airgas to, some of you might be like, I've never heard of any of those, right? But these are $100 billion companies. They're doing quite well. And I've been able to help them, but also work with startups and small businesses. So let's kind of talk about this. So e-commerce, I get typically some kickback on, well, Jeff, you don't know my industry. We're different. We're unique. E-commerce doesn't work. And hey, let me ask you a question. I have 2 screens going here. Do you see one slide or do you see a bunch of slides with notes? I thought I'd just ask that really quick. I don't want to overcomplicate. Just one slide. Okay, good. Then fantastic. So with e-commerce, that can mean a lot of things, right? And obviously, Amazon is the big one that comes to your name at first. But sometimes companies can think, well, I can't do e-commerce. That's not my industry. You don't know me, Jeff. We're different. I get that. But as you know, customers want to shop 24/7, even for industrial solutions. So, I'm scrolling back through the chat, art, home decor, even cleaning or travel and auto, jewelry, ebooks, a lot of these still can be delivered through e-commerce. All right. And so it's a way for you to stand out from your competitors. Now, some of you are like, well, Jeff, everybody's in e-commerce where I am. I get that. And some of you are like, Jeff, nobody's in e-commerce. But how can you stand out from your competition, no matter if they are or aren't in e-commerce? So I don't have to tell you that obviously times are changing with in-person sales and trade shows and other selling tactics. So one of the beauties of startups and small businesses is that they can do some of these strategies a lot easier, right? Especially if you're the decision maker, you can decide today that you want to change course a little bit and implement one of these strategies. How beautiful is that? The next thing is e-commerce helps you diversify and experiment. So maybe you can't put all your products, maybe you're a reseller or you have dozens or hundreds of products, maybe thousands. Pick your top selling products, easiest to deliver. Some of those, put your top products and think about where you could sell those online. And I'm not just talking about Amazon, I'm talking about your website and some other things we'll get into here. And then obviously the internet has leveled the playing field. So ask yourself, can I go direct to customer? Right? With some of the big manufacturers I work with, that is a really difficult thing because they have distributors and other channel partners and all this complicated layers. But how can you go directly to your buyer, to your customer? And then, if that is a struggle, could you create a white labeled e-commerce store that doesn't have your branding on it? Maybe it has your distributors branding on it or your customers, or, is there a way to think outside the box and have mini e-commerce stores that you sell your products through? We'll talk about this, but 72% of B2B buyers research before calling a salesperson. So along with all of this, what can you do to create content that will answer those questions that your B2B audience is asking? All right, so this slide I love, especially for small businesses and startups and things where, hey, and I get it. I mean, I've been doing this 19 years. I still have a small team around me. You know, there's 6 of us. We're pretty lean, mean, and we've done some amazing projects, worked with some amazing companies, but marketing is everything and everything is marketing. So, and this can be hard because as you're bootstrapping a company, I don't want to make it sound like you have to spend tons of money, but do be careful that everything you do is marketing, right? So your business card, that's marketing, your website, just how you present yourself, some of the things you're doing on social media, everything is marketing and marketing is everything. Right? I just said that backwards, right? But it still applies. Marketing is everything and everything is marketing. So with all of this that we're going to be talking about, it really does boil down to marketing. There's a lot of sales and other things we'll talk about, but it does boil down to marketing. So again, I'm not trying to say you have to spend money. There are ways, you know, there's free resources out there. There's inexpensive resources on the marketing side of things. I definitely recommend, but also if it looks cheap, it might reflect on you and your company. Let's take a drink here. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is being customer centric. This is the foundation of everything you should do with your marketing, your sales, everything. Now, again, I work with big companies down to startups. Sometimes the big companies struggle with this the most. So let me ask you, is your entire presentation from your website to your packaging, to your ordering and customer service, is it customer centric or is it all about you? Think about your social media or your website, your messaging. Is it all about you or is it all about your customer? I have a friend, Allison DeFord, and she talks about, does your website and marketing have too much wee on it? All right. So look at your website. Does it say, we do this, we do that, or I, okay. Does it say, I do this, I do that, I sell this? Or is it customer centric? Hey, are you looking to buy this? Or are you struggling with that? Or are you looking to blah, 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 right? Is it customer centric, focused on your ideal customer? Or is it all about you and your company? Now, I get it. I've been around for 19 years. I'm proud of that. I don't think anybody is hiring me in my company because I've been around for 19 years. So that's the good thing if you're a startup. Now, granted, people might want a track record, you know, and that will come over time. But if you can provide a solution to people's problems, you're in business, right? It's not that much more complicated than that. So again, be thinking about all of your marketing, from social to your website, to your business card, to all of that. Does it talk about your company only, or do you put your customer first? So this is why it's foundational, because everything we're about to talk about is customer centric, customer first. All right. Now, the next principle is what I call a learning center. I want you to think about all your marketing really as being education focused. You know, I think I said a little bit ago, my parents are both college professors, educators. I come from marketing and sales as being an educator, not a salesperson. So I want to encourage you, you are not a salesperson, you're an educator. Now, I do a lot of training, I go to a lot of events, and I remember being in the room with, I don't know, probably 30, 50 small businesses. And the person at the front of the room was like, hey, who here loves sales? And hardly anybody raised their hand. I think I might have been the only one. And this is small business people, like, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 employees at most. And the reason I like sales is because I love helping people. I love serving people, and I'm an educator. And that lowers the stress level, at least in my brain, versus if I feel like I have to do a cold call, knock on a door, make the sale, or else whatever, something bad's going to happen, I get stressed out. And there have been times in my business where that has needed to happen, right? I had to make the sale. I had to do the cold call. But whenever I do a cold call or talk to somebody about pitching a product or a service, if I can educate them, if I can share a solution to their problems, it's easier for them to say yes to what I'm offering. So again, think of everything as a learning center. So customers are already searching 24/7, obviously, right? You are, I am, we're going on, Google and YouTube and social media and every place searching for solutions. So let me ask you this. Do you have content that's helpful and customer-centric on your website, on your social media, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on all the platforms that your customers are? Or will your perfect customer find your competitor first? Now, that can be really difficult, right? Especially as a startup. Maybe you're ramping up and you're looking at your competition like, how could we ever overtake them? The good news is we are in a perfect time where marketing and sales is changing, and you can gain some traction pretty quickly. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. So make your website and marketing into a learning center. So again, it's less about we, right? We're taking out the we on our site, and it's more about educating your ideal customer. So answer questions, showcase your product, and demonstrate your expertise. That's my encouragement. All right, let's talk about video. And we're going to spend a chunk here. And this is where I'm going to give you one of my strategies called video value bomb. So 73% of people are more likely to make a purchase after watching videos explaining a product or a service. So my question is, if 73% of people are more likely to make a purchase, do you have videos on your website explaining your products and services, right? Do you have videos on your social media, on YouTube, on wherever, your ideal customers are? Somebody said a bed and breakfast. Do you have videos of your bed and breakfast, inside, outside, questions, all of that? Maybe have videos if you're selling a product that requires setup. Do you have a setup video or videos? You have install videos, safety videos, common problems. Think of all the types of questions that your ideal customer is asking and create video content for that. Now, some of you might have, again, dozens or hundreds of products you're selling or reselling, and I get that. Pick your top 20% of your best products. Maybe it's the highest grossing products. Maybe it's the easiest to deliver, right? Delivery is a big issue right now. So pick the products that are easier for you to acquire and deliver versus the ones that are going to take weeks or months and frustrate people. So think about your top products and how you can create video content for that. Now, the average B2B customer watches 30 minutes of video before making a purchase. So my question is, do you have 30 or more minutes of helpful customer-centric videos on your website, YouTube, social media, and any place your ideal customers are? Right? I mean, it's really as easy as that. If we're playing the numbers, I mean, creating 30 or more minutes of video is where you might want to start, right? Remember at the beginning of this presentation, I said, pick one strategy. Maybe that's where you want to focus on. Now, I'm not saying make one 30-minute video. In fact, the shorter, the better. So typically, under 3 minutes is ideal, depending on what you're trying to do. But I mean, if you had 10 3-minute videos, fantastic. That's a great place to start. Next, 75% of manufacturers plan on using video on their website this year. And these are typically bigger companies, right? Again, I've worked with a lot of big companies. They move pretty slow. They stall with decision fatigue. If you're a startup or a small business and it's you, and if it's just you or you and some other people, you can move really fast, okay? You can get content out there, see what works, and then add more to what's working. Simple as that. Now, let's talk about SEO, right? SEO just means search engine optimization. And all that means is what happens when you type into Google. Are you on the first page, 10th page, whatever? Now, video is amazing for SEO because Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these companies, they know that people would rather watch video content than read. Okay, so here's kind of the four, I don't know, the pyramid here of how it works. All right, so firstly, video lengthens the time that people spend on your website or wherever your products are sold. Okay, so the longer they spend on their website, on your website, excuse me, the longer they get to know, like, and trust you, the longer they see your products in action, the longer they're not on your competitor's website. So it's a win-win all the time. And then the longer that they're on your website, Google will see that and reward you by putting your site higher because people are spending more time there. Now, that's just one of the many, dozens and probably hundreds of factors that Google factors in is time on site, but video lengthens the time on your website. And like I said before, let's be honest, most people would rather watch video content than read an article about it. I said most people. There's many people that would much rather read, and I get that. So to me, it's not an either or, it's both, right? It's create videos and articles. That's a win-win. And then videos help you showcase your unique ability, right? You're in business for a reason. You have a solution to people's problems. You have a good personality and you have the ability to promote your product because you're excited about it. At least I hope so. So that all makes you unique. Again, I work with big companies. Sometimes they can be so focused on saying the exact right word. They have to have HR approve the script. They have to have legal approve the script. They have to have, the executives approve the script. Excuse me. But you can create content really quickly and showcase your unique ability. Most companies want to be kind of bland and the average of everybody, but you are not average. You're better than average, right? So you can showcase your unique ability through video content. And then Google rewards you when you have videos on your website or YouTube. And then obviously Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn also reward you by having videos on their platforms. Now, real quick, whenever you have a video, just real practically here, I recommend uploading it to YouTube and then embedding it on your website. That's a whole little discussion there. Now, if you use Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever those platforms recommend that you upload the video to their platform. So don't take a YouTube video and link it in, if you're on Facebook, say, hey, here's my video from YouTube. Facebook won't show that automatically within Facebook or Instagram or other platforms, right? So just kind of a simple practical thing is most platforms want you to upload the video to their platform. So you might have to upload it, several times, but you're going to get more ROI. All right, let's talk about how to automate the sales process. And I'm going to keep this really simple. Okay. I'm a simple guy. The sales process could be overly complicated. I'm going to break it down into 3 steps. Okay. Pre-sale, during the sale, and post-sale. All right. Again, I told you it was going to be simple. So let's talk about, from a video perspective, what can automate the sales process. So this is a strategy that I have called video value bombs. And this is a service we have. I think it's fantastic. Companies hire us to do this, but I'm going to give you the 3-step strategy and you can implement it yourself. All right. So firstly, 65% of manufacturers don't have a specific goal for generating digital leads. That's pretty big. So the 3 steps of video value bombs is number 1, create a content roadmap. All right. And then produce regular video content. So let's kind of dive into this. Content roadmap. What's that mean? Well, instead of just talking about yourself, just talking about your products, think about what are the questions that you're already being asked and make a video for each of those questions. What are the top performing blogs or articles that you've written? Or what are the top performing blogs or articles maybe somebody else has written on a different website. Now, don't steal their content, okay? Don't just read it verbatim. Take what they've done, think about it and how it applies to you and your customers, and improve it, okay? Please do not plagiarize, steal, anything like that. Another type of content is, what are the top 10 problems or mistakes that your ideal customers have? And then you could even break it down more. Talk about the top problems that that complete strangers have before they even know that your product exists. Or what about right before the sale? What stops people from making the sale? Is it the price? Is it the return policy? Is it delivery? Is it the whatever it is? Think about those, because I guarantee anytime somebody buys from you or me, they have hesitations in their mind. Okay. And if we can create videos for each of those hesitations, that lowers the barrier. So just be thinking about that. And then what types of videos can you create after the sale? So again, like I just said, what are the top questions you're already being asked? What are the top performing blogs and articles? What are the top problems and mistakes that your ideal customers have? That alone could fill up dozens of videos. Now, for my video value bomb strategy, we actually do this. You see these top 2 videos here, in the red shirt and the blue shirt. We do this. We record this over kind of like a Zoom piece of software. We have something that's much better. And so we create these videos, or you could have like this bottom one with this gentleman in the suit jacket. You could have somebody on camera and have it be kind of more official, more high quality, high end. But I think today, more accessible video from your smartphone, from a webcam, from a tablet, I think it's fine, right? It's more about the content. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've produced videos that are, $100,000 plus projects and really big, and drone and crew and this and that and multiple locations and multiple days and weeks. And so those are fine for, these big companies. But for you, I want you to focus on the content roadmap. What do you want to talk about, and deliver that over your phone, over your laptop, or something that's easier for you to do. Okay. Especially if video seems kind of complicated. All right. So step number 2 is content multiplication. Okay. So each video becomes what we call video value bomb, right? You want to drop some value bombs on people. And then along with that, write a short article for each. You could even create quotes or graphics out of those. So maybe you say something really valuable or beneficial. You can have a quote there, and you can put that on your website and social, and give it to your distributors, or if you sell in a store, you could put some of those things as marketing material. So be thinking how you can multiply the videos that you're already making into other content. And step 3 is distribution. Okay. So distribute the video, rotate and repost it every month. Obviously, the more videos you have, the better results you'll get. It'll be like a snowball rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So those are the 3 steps. In a way, it's very simple. Implementing it can be a challenge. Okay. So first step is content, a roadmap. What are you going to talk about in the next year? Write all those down, prioritize, and then batch record those. I'm doing that myself. We're creating content, but you might see me on LinkedIn and some other channels. And so this is what we're doing. Step 2 is that multiplication. Okay. So once you create the videos, you can strip out the audio and have audio versions. You can have, a myriad of other content, and then distribution. So let's talk about 10 different places you can put this. I have a whole list of like 40 different places that we work with our clients. But obviously your website, your email newsletter. The next one is your email signature. Okay, think how many emails you send out every week, every month. Now, if you have employees or people on your team, think about how many total emails you all send. What if you had a blurb in your email signatures that said something like, hey, check out our latest video value bomb, or check out our latest video quick tip, or, again, make it customer centric. Don't say, hey, learn more about us on these videos. honestly, nobody really wants, they want a solution to their problem. So make sure that that is in your email signature. Obviously, on your e-commerce store, okay, whether it's Amazon or your personal one or other places, have videos showcasing your product, demonstrating it, setup, safety, install, usage, whatever that might be. Then LinkedIn or other social channels, sales presentation, catalogs, paid ads, sales pages, YouTube. Again, think of all the places your ideal customers are, and then put your videos there. All right, start with your top 3 or 4 channels. Okay, I don't recommend that you put these places in every place, right? Like I said, I have a list of 40. We prioritize, and then we attack based on the highest ROI. All right, so now let's talk about a bonus tip for the distribution part. You can create automated email sequences and follow up and keep them engaged. Companies that nurture leads get a 45% increase in their ROI. So maybe at the end of some of your videos, not all, but at the end of some of your videos, what if you said, hey, if you want to learn more, I have a free guide about X, or I have the top 10 strategies for 2022, and it's a PDF. Okay, then you can offer that as a download. It's a free download. You can automate things like with MailChimp or other email platforms. And that way you're building your email list. Okay. Videos attract 300% more traffic and help to nurture leads. And then let me show you an example. This is a company, a pretty big company, but they're doing this same thing. So Stober Drives, they build these heavy metal gearboxes. Whenever we're in their facility, we have to wear steel toe boots, because if you drop one of these heavy metal gearboxes, you're going to do some damage to your feet. So we wear heavy steel toed shoes. That's what I was trying to say. And here's their landing page here with all the videos. We have about 24 videos on their site. At the end of the video, we have a download. And granted, these videos and this download is not for like you and me, right? At least not for me. I'm not buying any gearboxes anytime soon. These are for people that make conveyor belts or big, huge ceiling fans in industrial applications. So at the end of the video, the person on screen says something like, hey, if you want to learn more, check out the download below. And we have this free download. And then obviously the user can get that information. So Stober had all of this content. And then when right before COVID hit, they had this content available. So when everything shut down, they still had a digital marketing strategy in place that could get leads, increase sales, and boost their SEO. All right, so that is the video value bomb strategy. So again, it's a content roadmap, okay? Create content, I mean, ideally every week, but monthly at the least. Multiply that content into articles and other pieces of content, and then distribute it. Okay, put it everywhere that your ideal customers are. Now, that's kind of the bulk of the video part. Let me just take a break here and say, does anybody have any questions so far? Questions about video, about Learning Center, customer centric? Because I'm going to go into some other strategies that apply to your website and some other channels. But I just want to take a pause. I'm going to take a drink. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat below. All right, I'll keep going here, but I'll keep an eye on the chat as I can. Okay, so let's break this down even more into pre-sale. So what happens? Oh, okay, here we go. So got a question. I'm glad you asked that right now. How should we make the videos with the quality of our cell phone? I mean, I'm an Apple guy, so an iPhone has pretty good video quality. Most phones do these days. I think that's good enough. Okay, get started. Here's the beauty. Get started and tell yourself, I'm going to do this for 3 months. And here's a little secret. We're doing a test with a specific type of video ourselves right now. And we said we're going to give it at least 3 months, if not 6 or 9. From there, we can change and tweak and modify and improve. Okay. So I would say just do it. Now, you could also find somebody, maybe you have a high schooler or a college student or somebody that's tech savvy, ask them. Maybe it's a family member or a friend. Maybe you can sit down and they can ask you the top 10 questions, and those are 10 separate videos, but it only takes you 30 minutes to bang those top 10 questions you get on video. And then they can just simple edits and you're good to go. All right, got a couple other questions here. So that was a good question. I think Samuel, Cheryl, thanks. Clarity on a video. Create video content and multiply on all platforms. Yeah. So, once you create, let's say one video, okay, let's kind of simplify it. Think of where are your customers going to see that video? So obviously your website, obviously social media. If you use Amazon, can you put it there? Your email signature. Where else can you put these videos or this one video that your customers will see it? So maybe it's email newsletter. Maybe it's, a QR code that you put on your business card or something like that. Yeah, Canva is good. Good job, Brittany. Canva has both free and paid plans. Their free plan is fantastic, very helpful. How should we measure the impact of our video content over the 3-month period? Okay, I love that question. So a lot of times, especially with big companies, but even startups, they say, okay, Jeff, if I'm going to do a video, how many sales should I expect from this video? Right? I think that's the wrong question. I think it's how can you showcase your expertise in these videos? How can you build trust in these videos? How can you demonstrate your products? That's more important. For instance, I used to have a podcast years ago. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. I interviewed a company actually out of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, and great podcast interview. They didn't pay me. I didn't pay them. Just a couple weeks ago, they came and hired me for this video value bomb strategy 5 or 6 years ago. So I could have said for 5 or 6 years ago, what was the ROI of that podcast? Well, it's kind of low, but I'm reaping the rewards now. So your videos are a 24/7 sales and marketing automated strategy that works for you. So I think that's what you should focus on as far as measuring the impact. And that can be hard, right? It's not that you can guarantee your videos will sell X amount of products. In many industries, they do sell a lot more. But it's more about becoming that influencer, that influential person that people go to. And that could take some time. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And Brittany said analytics. I mean, that's kind of the obvious thing. Thank you, Brittany. That was a shorter explanation of what I just said. But analytics, right? Look at, if you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or any of these platforms, keep track of month 1 through month 3 and just see what happens. Okay. It might not be a big hockey stick of growth, but it might be something where you just see it continually grow and you're like, well, that's kind of cool. So you're not going to know unless you get started. And honestly, 1 or 2 or 3 videos isn't going to do it. I would even encourage you to do 1 a week. And I know that can seem overwhelming. Maybe it's a Facebook Live, or, a lot of these platforms have live videos, YouTube, etc. What if you just do a live video, get on and talk for 5 minutes and then share it out from there? Last couple of things. Yeah, Nicole, I get hung up on details too. So think of a plan, implement the plan, hire people out. That's what I'm doing too. I have my team as well as, some external people that do things. So a book that I love that I think every startup should read is called Who, Not How. All right. Who, Not How by Darren Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Phenomenal book. Dante, on average, how many takes does it take for you to create a video? Everybody's different. There's actually teleprompter apps where you can, where's my phone? You can hold your phone and you can read the teleprompter and it looks like you're looking right into the camera. Now, one downside to teleprompters is some people can make it look robotic and like they're reading a script, right? So I'm going to pretend here. So let's say I'm reading a script and hi, my name is Jeff Long, and today I want to talk about my products. My products are really good and you should buy them. And right, that sounds robotic. It sounds unnatural. What I like to do is I like to have like 3 bullet points. Hey, in today's video, I want to talk about X, Y, and Z. I've seen that there's a problem with blah, blah, blah. And that's why I want to talk about X. And then I talk about X for a minute. And then I talk about Y. And then I talk about Z. And then we close it out. Hey, if you want to learn more, check out my website, truefocusmedia.com, something like that. And here's the funny thing. I really struggle myself. I feel super awkward, vulnerable, silly, weird when I'm on camera. You'll notice now, I'm probably talking fast. I try to elevate my excitement, because who wants to watch a presentation with a guy, talking like this, right? So I try to elevate that. I would encourage you in your videos as well to elevate your energy and your excitement. Regina, you sell a service instead of a product. I mean, tell me what service you sell, but I think, top 10 questions that you get, or what are the top problems that you solve? Or I don't think what I'm talking about is only for product-based businesses. I think it's both. I sell services, right? I don't sell a thing. I sell, in essence, web design, video marketing, e-learning. Those are services. I still have tons of questions. I mean, I have too much content I could talk about. And so that can be a challenge. Yeah, diversity inclusion consultant. I work with, if you look up AmericanNegotiationInstitute.com, I built their website and some of their marketing, and so they have a podcast, and he and his company are talking about maybe some similar things, and so might be a good resource. So yeah, I think obviously you can talk about a lot of things in that space, and video is key. Because if you're wanting people to hire you for maybe a presentation, a keynote, or for your services, they still need to get to know, like, and trust you. And video is one of the best ways. All right, great questions. Keep those coming. I'm going to keep going here for the sake of time. I'm going to kind of breeze through some of these. So pre-sale, what could you create for people before they make a purchase? All right, so again, think about a learning center, answering questions. Maybe it's a series of social media videos, okay? So maybe it's list videos. Here are the top 10 this, or here's what to know in 2022, or whatever that might be. What if it's product comparisons? Either you're comparing your products, let's say you have, a dozen products, you want to compare those so people can get an idea what's best for them, right? Kind of that Goldilocks thing, right? Is it too small, just right, or too big? Well, if you compare those, you can help your customer. Or, excuse me, or you can compare your products to your competitors. Now, personally, I don't like to trash other people or products or services. I like to showcase why I'm better. But you could compare, hey, my product compared with product X, maybe you don't even name them. Here's why I'm better. Here's why this is better for you. Industry trends or industry stats and how you see the industry going. So again, think pre-sale, not just videos, but articles and content and things like that. I'm going to breeze through this. This is more for a larger company and their RFQ. So let's go back to videos. Okay, so pre-sale, FAQ videos, product comparisons, pros and cons, stats and commentary. A lot of those things. We're doing a lot of virtual videos, 360 tours, things like that. So the person that has the I don't know if it's an Airbnb, but a bed and breakfast, are you using Matterport or virtual tours so people can see your bed and breakfast before they book? I mean, that's huge, right? The more they can see it, imagine themselves in it, the more they'll be either inclined to book because it's the right fit, or they'll know it's not the right fit and you don't want them as a guest because they're not going to be satisfied and they might not leave a good review, right? So if it's a family or two families of 10 people and they kind of go and use your virtual tour and they kind of decide, ooh, this wouldn't work for us. There's not enough separation, or there's whatever. That's a good thing, because if they book with you and they're dissatisfied, that's not good. All right, so here are some of the videos we've produced. You can go to truefocusmedia.com and check out some of the videos. Check out the videos tab. I think it says video marketing at the top. You can check out some of those. Virtual tours. This is more of a big construction, big manufacturing facility we did with Cargill. I don't want to go into that right now. All right, during the sale. Okay, let's talk about during the sale content and videos. So again, FAQs. This is different than what you would get pre-sale. Product demos, case studies. I mean, these are huge, right? How did somebody that used your product overcome their problem? Create videos for that. Hey, I worked with this customer and they had this problem, and once they used my product or service, here were the results. And then webinars, just like this, right? So here's a strategy I recommend called the webinar cut-up strategy. Okay, so give a webinar. I mean, even if nobody's on it, for example's sake, which I'm glad you're on this webinar, by the way, and you can cut up that webinar into different chunks. So now you have, let's say it's an hour webinar, you can cut it up into different chunks. And now you can post those videos on social, on other platforms, on your website as short little video value bombs. All right, and last thing here, last two things is post-sale. All right, so what can you do post-sale? I'm just going to breeze through some of these. The one thing I want to talk about is e-learning. All right, so again, we talked about your website being a learning center. What content could you create for your customers or employees, if you have them, that would help them learn more and reduce the amount of customer service calls or questions or problems, or maybe they're frustrated. So could you create videos, even if it's behind like a wall, meaning they have to put in their name and email, or they have to pay you to be on this platform? Think of what types of content you could create for your customers or employees that would help in an e-learning environment. And lastly, automation. Okay, so how can your website automate part of the process for your customers, employees? I just talked about that e-learning portal. And then everything I've talked about up through now helps you automate, right? So the more videos and content you create, you can automate that. There's tools out there like Hootsuite. We talked about Canva for graphics. So be thinking about that automation. And then let me read this question here. Brittany, that's a good question. What if you're offering something that could shift the paradigm of your industry before the launch? Should I partner up with a well-established brand partners before launch? That I could talk about for a while. I don't want to get into that too much. Yeah, that's a good question. I would ask your person there at the SBDC to go into depth. They could probably help you even more than I could here in the next minute. So that kind of concludes what I want to talk about. Like I said at the beginning, find one of the tips, one of the strategies I talked about. Maybe it's that video value bombs. In fact, if you go to videovaluebombs.com, you can actually learn a little more about what I offer my clients. Feel free to use that yourself, okay, with your products and solutions. And then lastly, I have some guides on my site. If you want to learn more about website marketing, video marketing, or e-learning, there's some guides that will help you be more effective and efficient. So that is what I wanted to talk about here today. I'm going to turn it back over, and I guess if there's any other final questions, or you can reach out to me directly and go from there. So thanks so much for having me on here today.
Just a quick one before we wrap it up for the day. This goes to our wonderful participant. I just posted a 30-second survey on the chat box. Remember, we at Temple SPDC, we always cherish your feedbacks, even as it helps us to increase on the services, to improve on the services we provide to you guys at the low cost. So kindly take 30 seconds of your time to help us to fill out the surveys. If you remember from the onset, I did say today is actually a great day because I sensed we were going to have a wonderful presentation. And of course, I'm sure everybody can attest to it. But before we wrap it up, I can see a couple of, I don't know if you can see the questions on the Q&A from Alexander.
Sorry about that. I don't know from the Q&A. I'm not, can you read that for me? Do you mind?
Okay, sure. Alex was like on average, how many, wow. He was like on average, how many tags? As in, I guess he meant on an average, how many tags does it take for you to create a video?
Yeah. So how many takes, like how many tries does it take? Yeah. And so I talked a little bit about that, but like I use bullet points because everybody's different. I've seen some people struggle a long time. I've seen some people get it in the first take. I struggle. So I have typically 3 bullet points, that I want to talk about, and that keeps me on focus. Or you can use a teleprompter app, like I have on my phone or my tablet, and you can read. You just got to be careful that you don't sound like you're reading, because that sounds robotic.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think we have one from Nicole. It's there on the chart. Nicole was like, lastly, if I screen record my own live video from IG or Facebook and upload it on YouTube, does that affect the embedding?
That's a good question. I don't think it will. I believe there are services that let you live stream to multiple channels. Like, let's see if I have, I think StreamYard is one. I used to have one. I'm looking in my dock here. I'm on a Mac, so it might not be applicable. But yeah, there are platforms that let you stream to multiple, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn at the same time, right? So that's what I would recommend looking into.
Okay. Samuel has a couple of questions here, but I will just take the last one because we are far behind time. The question was like, what additional resources do you recommend for our review letter on this topic?
A review later on this topic. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I would look at people in your industry that are already creating video content and kind of figure out what they're doing. And don't get intimidated that they have hundreds or thousands or millions of views. Okay. It's easy to get intimidated, but just kind of notice, what are they talking about? What are they doing? How could I do a version of that that reflects me and my personality? Okay. Because it's hard getting on camera. It's hard for me, and I'm a video guy. All right. It's going to be a challenge for all of us probably, but just get started. Like I said, give it 3 months, 6 months, and then evaluate and see where it takes you. I can almost guarantee it's going to have a positive effect on your business.
Okay, that's a great one. I can see a couple of people are still asking if the recording will make available to them. I did say from the onset of the presentation that a copy of the PowerPoint and a link to the recording will be sent to all the attendees. You guys should be expecting it in the next 30 or 40 minutes. It's a promise from my own end. And to wrap it up, because we are actually behind time, I just want to use this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for keeping it a day with us. Jeff, thank you for a wonderful presentation. I enjoyed everything from the beginning to the end, and I love the questions that actually came up on board. I love the interactions. Our participants, thank you, for making the webinar to go on smoothly. And lastly, on my list, I just want to use this opportunity once again to thank my fellow Temple SPDC colleagues for their usual cooperation, hard working to make sure that this webinar come into existence. Without further ado, thank you for everything and do have a nice day. Bye-bye.